Good morning, and good morning, Matt. I'm here. I'm welcoming Matt Burton, who's the creative director from Rusty Monkey.
Hi,
And
Mark. Great to see you, mate.
yeah, good to see you. So, just introduce yourself briefly, and then I'll sort of like fire away with the questions.
Yeah, sure. I'm Matt. I'm a creative director here at Rusty Monkey. I founded the company with some friends from school. Been doing it for a very long time now. I don't like to put a number on it because
Yeah,
it makes me realize how old I am. Let's just call
exactly.
it a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we'll just leave it at that.
Leave it at that.
We're a creative agency. We're sort of full service, so but we live a lot in the e-commerce space and the branding space, and we do quite a lot of marketing for a whole range of customers, from big high street retailers down to sort of small independent chocolatiers and everything in
Excellent.
between, really. And we
Yeah,
try and find people to work with who are doing some good in the world. Really, we're kind
yeah,
of um, we're ethical hippies at heart, I suppose.
yeah. No,
Maybe
that's a
something
good
like
one.
that.
Yeah, that sounds good. So obviously, you're in the creative. I had a look at your website. Fantastic, by the way. Very creative. Innovation is obviously a great thing for you. Let's say from a creative perspective, how would you approach client acquisition in the sort of like to stand out? I mean, how do you push through the noise with your innovation, creativity? What's your kind of how do you approach that?
Well, from Rusty Monkey's perspective, I mean, we've got a grounding base in other people's work, I guess. So it's like we're big followers of Simon Sinek in his approach of start with why, and Seth Godin and Marty Neumeier, Zig Ziglar the Zag. All these things have helped us build like a brand philosophy for Rusty Monkey, and we do a lot of brand coaching as well. So it's for us. For us, I think the most impactful thing that we do to try and stand out is just being authentically ourselves. I used to go to like meetings, like when we started, I'd go to meetings in suits, and I'm like, why am I wearing
What
an
am I
effing
doing?
suit? That's not who I am. And even when
Yeah,
we go to like sort of big e-commerce events down in London now, I still just rock up with my Converse with holes in it and my hoodie,
yeah.
and
Why not?
everyone else is like really sharply dressed, and
Yeah,
I'm like a scruffy person who looks like he's crawled out of a bin.
yeah. That's fun.
So it for us, it's about sort of having that authentic voice in the sort of marketplace, and making sure that our brand, reflects our values. And we have a really strong like creative team here, so they're really sort of
Right.
dedicated to uplifting our visual presence and making sure that we're leveraging all of our skill sets, animation, technology, and automation to kind of make us stand out in the space in a very different way, and particularly in the e-commerce landscape. We definitely stand out.
Yeah.
We're not like a systems integrator. We're the people who kind of just do represent this very friendly brand. Someone referred to us once and said, "Ah, Rusty Monkey, they're the guys who bring people together," and I really loved that.
Wow.
I thought that
Yeah.
was a really
That's
nice reflection of
that is good. Yeah.
how we
Because
present ourselves networking. Yeah, so I think for us, it's that authentic position of who we are, and we don't shy away from it.
fantastic. Because you've got a varied kind of like mix of of outshoots and outpourings of what you do. So I mean, definitely, there's going to be a kind of like a collective, varied sort of like people that you do attract or you want to attract. So what would you say are some of your challenges and you face in managing sort of like client pipelines? So let's say, especially dealing with complex, lengthy sort of like sales cycles that are typical in sort of like this industry.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when we do
Yeah,
that kind of brand coaching in a way, one thing we advocate is the idea of like minimum viable audience, which is, hey, make sure you're talking to an audience that is quite small. And when we do that coaching, I'm like, hey, me and you, Mark, we could sack all this off, mate. We can like put all this IT business in the bin and all this marketing
yeah,
in the bin, and me and you, we're going to start a t-shirt company. But if we were to start a t-shirt company just selling online, we'd do a really bad job of it. It would be crap because
right,
Amazon exists and other
yeah,
t-shirt retailers exist.
yeah,
We've got no domain authority. We've got
yeah,
no presence or brand.
yeah,
But if we said something that was way more specific, if we said something that was like, hey, we're going to set up a t-shirt company that's selling heavy metal t-shirts using vegan inks, ethically made, and we're going to sell them to people who speak Welsh.
Fantastic.
There's like a very defined audience then, and that's how you kind of get that kind of brand loyalty out there. And I think for Rusty Monkey, the challenge we've had in finding our own minimum viable audience is because we're a bunch of creatives and technical people. One thing we want to make sure is that we enjoy our work, and we don't want to be bored.
Right.
And it's quite easy to get bored if you're just doing this single thing. So with regards to the customers we attract, they can be of a varying size. They're not necessarily in a specific vertical. It's not like we only do e-commerce retail.
Right. Okay.
And with regards to the services we offer as well, it's not like, we only do e-commerce. So it's kind of a broad church. So what we had to do was come up with a, we call it our golden triangle, but it's a means of making sure we're qualifying the people that want to work with us, if that makes sense. So rather than just do work for anybody, we now we sort of qualify them early in the pipeline. So I'll do the triangle if you want.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Please.
I can tell you. Okay. So it's like the lowest part, or the sort of first part of the triangle, I suppose, is do they have budget and goals? Because if we know that they've got budget and goals, and we know that we can. That's a space we really love to work in, because we can help them hit their goals, we understand their budget, so we can provide the great service. The second part of our triangle is the work going to be fun? If someone's coming to us and going, hey, we've got like a multi-store Magento site, and we want you to maintain it for us, we'd be a bit like, that doesn't sound very fun.
Right, yeah.
Versus, hey, we want you to help us build this 3D custom furniture thing, and we'd be like all over that. So is the work going to be fun? Are our team going to dig it? Because we do the best work when our team enjoy it. And the last and most important part of our triangle is this company doing something good in the world, and are they nice people? Can I swear at them? Are they going to be okay with the fact that I look like I've just crawled out of a bin?
Yeah.
Because if they want someone that's really like power dressy and salesy, that's not who we are.
That's not you, yeah.
So that's how we kind of do the first part of the pipeline, I guess, is making sure that we work with the right people. And we made mistakes really early doors of maybe working with people who really weren't us, and trying to get that right. So that's a growing pain we definitely had, was we didn't understand early doors who we wanted to work with. So I think defining your audience and making sure that's right is really key.
It is, definitely. Yeah, I think that, obviously, you've got your own, everybody has their own idiosyncrasies, and like an entity, if they want to sort of like give their best, they have to sort of know who they target and everything like that. And the sort of like the corporate world is the corporate world, the creative world is the creative world, and the thing is that the tech sort of like comes in between. So you've got to sort of like have a good balance, in that. So how would you say that? Let's say that you're sort of like, how would you measure the effectiveness of your client acquisition strategies? You mentioned just now that there were some certain challenges at the beginning of where you found your niche, and once obviously you're out there, the people know who you are, they say, right, these are the guys for this. How do you measure those particular successes?
I guess from a technical level, from a technical level, it can literally be that ROI, that ROAS figure that you're looking at when you're doing any kind of marketing. So, we do a big event. I say it's a big event. It's not that big. It's big for us. We do an event every year. We call it the Big Huddle, and we invite e-commerce merchants to that event, and we get some tech partners, and we all chat like e-commerce and branding for a day. So that we know there's an outlay there for that particular event.
Yeah.
So that's quite an easy thing to measure, because we spend a certain amount of money.
Yeah.
And I'm getting some music. What's that?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Or is it you? Is your time?
Me. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm just trying to take it off. I'm very sorry. I thought I'd silenced it.
That's all right.
Apologies, please. 100 apologies. Please carry on.
I was digging it, man. It felt like I was rapping. No, it's fine. Yeah, so like if we run an event, for instance, it's easy to kind of measure the success of that because we know the leads that will come from that, we know
Yeah,
the partnerships we might make from it, and we know that we sort of spent X amount on it. We know how much we got in sponsorship. The and with any marketing, that's sort of key to do to understand,
yeah,
where a lead comes from. Now, the challenge we have, and we some of our clients will have as well, is when you're selling, I guess, products of a certain value. Um, it's difficult to measure in terms of acquisition and marketing spend because you could do something and that could win you um, a £60,000 project, for instance, but you could repeat that activity and you may win nothing because you need the numbers, right? I mean, if we're selling t-shirts again,
yeah.
it's easier because the unit cost is smaller, so we've got all the figures and it's easier to measure all of that return on investment. But when you're selling something that's more expensive, it's a lot more difficult to measure that. I'll give you an example.
Yeah,
We just did a really small thing. It was like, hey, you want to win a cinema ticket?
yeah,
Um, Enter this little competition. We'll give you a cinema ticket. We like movies. We're just saying some
right.
stuff out there. We like movies.
Yeah,
We like cinema. We
yeah,
like
yeah,
film.
yeah.
And
Sure.
somebody won it. They swung by our office, picked it up. It was an old friend of mine. We did some photography together like years and
Yeah,
years ago. They swung by, picked up the ticket, saw our offices, and were like, "Oh, what? Tell me a bit more about what you do." And then that turned
yeah.
into like several big contracts because she was working
Right.
for this healthcare company, and we were a
Yeah,
really good fit for them, and we did loads of stuff for them. So, but
yeah.
we've given away cinema tickets again, and it's turned into nothing. So it's like
Right. Yeah,
all marketing is a bit of a gamble, and the
yeah,
challenges you have if you're selling a few expensive things, that
yeah.
measurability becomes a real challenge. So I think in terms of other ways of measuring the success of what we do is really kind of it's a gut feeling and it's engagement.
Right.
So just seeing how well some of the things we may do engage with people, and are we starting the right conversations? Are we getting the right people talking to us? And that's probably a more key metric than for us ROI, but in other spaces it's way more ROI focused.
Okay, that's really interesting. I mean, I can already see that there is definitely some sort of alignment. I mean, but we don't need to go into that today. So, so in terms of, your content, what role does content play in your sales process? How does that sort of like push through the pipeline effectively? So
Um,
like get you to where you need to be.
yeah, a lot, a lot. I would say for us, especially if we're selling something that's creative and technical. So we want to demonstrate that along our journey. So one thing I really dig, it's one of my favorite workshops we do, is like a customer journey workshop. And understanding, at one point nobody's ever heard of you, and then they have. So that's like the very first thing, isn't it? That's your first touch point, is that brand awareness. And it's one of the most important because if the very first thing somebody hears about you, like through word of mouth, is you should try these guys, they're amazing. That's one of the best. If the first touch point you get is a broken website,
Yeah,
that's
I
really hard to
understand.
recover from.
That's not
So,
good. Yeah,
in terms of um, content, making sure our content is really consistent, that our reviews are really good, that our output is top, really good and high quality, and that we're putting out valuable content to the world. So as well as being authentic, we try and knowledge share as much as we can. We want people to be able to self-serve, and we
yeah,
want people to succeed, and as long as we're
definitely.
helping, giving them tools to do that. So that
Definitely.
early bit's really important for us. But once they're sort of interested in working together, there's also really important touch points that we've identified along the route to make sure that we're still reflecting our brand values as we go. So even down to our quotes and proposals, when we send them out, we make sure we're sort of saying, hey, here's who you're going to be working with. It's this team of people here, and they can see the human faces and what they're doing. And we we put a little page in to say, hey, here are our values. Here's what to expect from us in this project. And you will get honesty if things are going crap. We will tell you they're going crap and why. and here's the things we expect from you in return. So we make sure that we're like very value driven and very honest and authentic all the way, and it doesn't stop at the point of purchase either. We want to make sure they get that brand experience further down, because the pipeline, traditionally acquisition, once it's acquired, it's acquired,
it's like,
right?
that's it,
But we actually like to concentrate an awful lot on that part afterwards as well, because long-term relationships are key. Once you've made that thing, even onboarding, how we onboard people is really important. How we communicating to them. What's it like when they first meet our team? Can we bring them in and make them an excellent cup of coffee and some pastries or a beer if they want a beer, So it's about making sure all of our touch points shine, and it's a never ending review of this. We will never have enough good touch points.
I worked in sort of like web development and everything, customer journey. I worked as a product manager for a stint. Okay. So I know about customer journeys. I know about, during all this sort of like digital transformation with agile and everything like that, getting companies to, successful companies to sort of like to move away from the old way of doing things. So I've sort of like, so it's a fascinating thing. Now, with the advent of AI, right, you've got companies such as yourself that are very much, you're value driven by your, organizational culture, which is like a human face. You've just mentioned sort of like touch points and everything like that. So some challenges that come along is, merging that technology with with the kind of the human face that you want. You still want the efficiency that it does, back end, but then, the front end, you have to, give it that special value. So so it's not anonymous really, So if you could wave a magic wand, right, and eliminate one reoccurring pain point in your client acquisition or pipeline management process within your space, what would it be and why?
Ghosting. For sure, ghosting. I think if there was
up, or
it's more like
much more than that.
It's more ghosting is a red flag for me, because we will put a lot of effort in early conversations just to be as valuable as we can be. So even if we're not going to work with someone, we would try and make sure they're well advised. So if it's a web dev project, for instance, we might even challenge what they're asking for, because we'll go, look, do you definitely want a WordPress site? Is that really what you need? And
is that what's suitable?
What would you do if you didn't have a website at all? Here's some interesting thoughts. So we would put a lot of free time and effort in early doors to try and just help people. And then that will often turn into a point of proposal, potentially. And it's if they're talking to a few people can ghost you. And we've yet to find the killer way of making sure we're not ghosted. So we have to kind of try and use as much psychology, and we use AI a little bit, but it doesn't do a great job of this. But we have to try and use some psychology to go, how are we going to, because we'd even just be happy with I'm sorry, we're not a good fit for you, because that's great. Right. We can move on with our lives.
Save a lot of time, wouldn't it?
And it's like, and we're looking at this deal going, oh, this looks really promising. And then, we have an expected date of this happening. And so we're almost getting ready for it. We're like, okay, well, let's make space because we're only a small team. There's only like maybe 13, 14 of us. So it's like, okay, we think this big e-commerce project is landing. So we start thinking about making space for that. And then we have other people coming in asking the same thing. And we're like, well, we want to give these guys first chance. And we're like, hey, you were going to make a decision by the end of this month. Can you let me know how it's going? And you just get ghosted. And we're like, oh man, do I send the email about, there's an email you can send. It's like, I hope you're okay and you haven't fallen off your chair or something like that. And you try and use humor to enact a response. So there's all of this, got like a handful of different like psychological
tactile
approaches.
Kind of approaches.
Yeah, because we don't mind. We don't mind if we're not your guys. Just don't effing ghost us. That's the one thing. If I could eliminate, it is yet to find the perfect way.
Yeah, it is frustrating when that happens, and also, just as you said, trying to knowing how to just come out, just say it, just come out, just say it, So right, so we're doing really well. The thing is that when it's engaging and interesting, time goes really quickly, and I'm really I'm well chuffed with the sort of like the progress that we've made. I think we've learnt a lot. I do believe that there is some alliance in some things that we might perhaps be able to partner with you on, but that's perhaps for another time. But let's say that if there's one aspect in your sort of like sales or client onboarding process that you believe that could be optimized, or perhaps you've looked at, I mean, I speak to people, different types of, different companies, and one thing is, they say that every company wants growth, and every company has challenges, but then I would say that no, not every company wants to be Tesla. Not every company wants to be Tesla. Some companies just really like to go along with their, I don't know, 50 clients, 10 clients, 5 clients, whatever it is, they're happy. But I do know one thing, that they would always want to optimize efficiency. If we could do the same thing quicker, faster, easier, with less stress, so that we could perhaps concentrate on other things, that were part of that kind of human, going to events, going to trade shows, meeting people, and So I don't know what would significantly optimize or shorten the time from initial contact, sorry, to perhaps project kickoff. What do you think? Have you thought about that, or?
Well, I mean, we're very nerdy people, so we
Yeah,
do
yeah,
have
yeah. I'm happy with Node. I worked in tech, so I,
yeah,
I know.
we have a lot of connected systems, so we write a
Right.
lot of automation.
Excellent.
Some of the automation software we use as well now has built-in AI as well for us, so we can like we can take information out of our we use HubSpot for our CRM,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
and that's how we
absolutely.
drive our deals through HubSpot. So we can take information out of HubSpot using the API, and we can put that through. We use something called NA10
Yeah, yeah.
for a
That's
lot
for
of our
workflow. Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah,
that handles most of our workflow logic, and making that talk to our project management system and our front facing Trello
yeah,
boards and our Google
yeah.
Calendar.
Trello's excellent. Yeah,
So we have we have a lot of automation that lets us sort of present very transparently and speed up our lives, which we're always improving. Again,
yeah.
it's something that never, like you
It
say, you
never
said it really well.
stops.
Actually, it's
Yeah.
like and we agencies set up in guilds, so we have like
Okay.
little guilds which are basically because we run a holocracy, which is a type of flat management structure. So we have circles basically of people, of experts that try and achieve certain things. So our production guild, for instance, is charged of project management. So that lives in a space where we're constantly trying to make our lives easier to get stuff produced. And it's the same in our sales acquisition. So we have we call it the new business guild because we don't
Yeah.
even like the term sales because it just sounds too
It
sales
sounds
to
too
me.
salesy. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a new business guild that looks after this. So there's umpteen Trello cards with ideas of how we want to improve our sales process and how we can use automation and AI to sort of help us on that journey a little bit. But actually, the most significant thing I think we did do was have a human-facing weekly meeting for the new business guild where we just literally would talk over all of the stuff together in that guild and go, hey, what do we think about this particular lead, and do we want it, and is it good, and that kind of stuff. So, and what sort of chats have we had, and then we'd have a human conversation. If we hadn't had some connection back from them for a while, somebody might come up with an idea
Yeah.
and go, well, hey, why don't we just,
Yeah.
I found an article that they might be interested in, why don't we just send them that and see if that's
Yeah.
just going to help them on the journey, even if we don't work with them. So for us, there's a mixture of like, we have like a list of things, I suppose, of things that we're looking to improve, which we do on a quarterly basis. We review the list and we try and get it better, and then we have a human approach that sits on top of it. That's weekly, where we're